What are some legislative actions or initiatives you and your colleagues are taking to combat these anti-Asian attacks?
We are pushing 2 hate crime bills, the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act and the No Hate Act. The COVID-19 bill will direct the Department of Justice to have a designated person who will monitor the hate crimes prosecution process of these various acts, and also issue guidelines to local law enforcement on how they can designate and treat these hate crimes. The No Hate Act will improve our very, very flawed hate crime reporting system and also provide resources for local law enforcement to actually create hate crime programs and training.
What's your reaction to the Biden White House bringing in this AAPI liaison?
So it's a very positive step forward. Of course, we were very disappointed when he did not appoint an AAPI cabinet secretary after having had one for the last 20 years, whether it was in the Democratic or Republican administration. And in his cabinet now, he does have every constituency represented: Black, Hispanic, Native American, LGBT, and women, but not Asians. So you can imagine how we feel about this. So that's why Senators Duckworth and Hirono really pushed it, and they went to the boiling point and said, we have to have people appointed at these highest levels. That's when the White House said, okay, we will have this senior White House staffer from the West Wing appointed to help AAPIs with appointments and issues. It is a start. It lays a foundation, and we are looking forward to making sure that our goal becomes a reality of getting high-level AAPI appointments.
Well, as policymakers, as lawmakers like you and your colleagues, what are some challenges you're facing when you're trying to help this group?
I'm glad you asked that, because it is a challenge, because we have people who are fearful, and some are immigrants and not used to this country. First of all, if they are the target of some kind of anti-Asian hate crime or incident, they need to report it. But I know that there are many that are fearful of doing so. They do not feel that it is safe or confidential, but I want to urge them to say it is. It is safe and confidential, and also it's important because they will not feel so isolated. There are people who want to help, who want to give them the resources that they need to be able to deal with the situation. And then there are bystander intervention trainings. There are those of us that can see such a thing happening, and there are things that we can do about it. We can raise our voices, we can document it. Anyway, there are trainings on the tools that you can use to stop such things. And that is what we should train everybody in our society to do. But most of all, we should speak up about this and say, we do not want this Asian hate. In so many cities, there are rallies that are being held all across the nation, and people of all different backgrounds participating in these rallies. It is very, very encouraging for me to see. And also, there are groups that are formed, young people that are even working to accompany elderly people in Chinatowns and other urban areas so that they are not attacked by people. So all this grassroots effort is just so encouraging, and it's not just amongst Asians, it's people of other backgrounds as well.
Well, what do you have to say to those, who believes Asian Americans are systematically discriminated against in the U.S. and that this is not a country that welcomes immigrants or Asian Americans?
Well, on one hand, we have these hateful people. On the other hand, we have people who defend us. And they are decent people. We have decent Americans who want to defend Asian Americans, and we have Asian Americans that want to defend all Americans. And that is what the value is in this country, where we have the freedom to be who we are, where we can speak out and do what we can. we feel that freedom to speak out and to be critical of our government, but also to be supportive of our government. I was free enough to criticize Donald Trump without being locked up. But I am also free to talk about the changes that we need to make and to actually try to implement them in our government through Congress. And I have the freedom to be elected to Congress as the first Chinese American woman ever in history. That's what America is about. It's not an easy place to live in. Our history is such that we have had times when discrimination has been below the surface, but also times when it's been way above the surface. And right now it's a time when it's way above the surface. So we need to work together and fight this and make sure that this is a country that is welcome for everybody.